Your sister needs this more than you, Amanda. My father's voice boomed across our family living room, drowning out the cheerful Christmas music playing in the background. She's getting married, starting a family. What are you doing with a lake house anyway? Working from home and living alone like a hermit. My name is Amanda Mitchell, and at 34, I was watching my father throw my lake house keys into the crackling fireplace during what was supposed to be our family Christmas celebration. The keys clattered against the grate, the metal slowly warming to a dangerous orange glow. "Those were my spare keys, Dad," I said calmly, taking a sip of wine. "And the lake house isn't up for discussion. It's mine. Grandpa left it to me for a reason." My sister Jessica, perched on the arm of her fiancé Mark's chair, let out an exaggerated sigh. At 29, she'd always been the family favorite, the one who followed our parents' perfect life script: prestigious college, corporate job, and now an upcoming wedding to a suitable man. "You're being selfish, Amanda," my mother chimed in, adjusting her expensive Christmas sweater. "Jessica and Mark could use that house to start their family. What do you even do up there all day? Stare at the water and write your little stories?" My little stories had actually earned me a comfortable living as a mystery novelist. But they'd never seen that as a real career. Never mind that my latest book was sitting on the New York Times bestseller list, or that I'd bought my own apartment in the city. To them, I was still a family disappointment. The lake house isn't just a house. I tried explaining for what felt like the 100th time. Grandpa specifically left it to me in his will. He had his reasons. "Oh, please," Jessica rolled her eyes. "Grandpa wasn't thinking straight in those final months. Everyone knows that. He probably forgot I was his granddaughter, too." I felt my jaw clench but kept my voice steady. "He was perfectly lucid, and you know it. You just couldn't be bothered to visit him more than twice a year." "I was busy building my career," Jessica snapped. Unlike some people who waste their time making up stories. Mark, who'd been quietly watching the drama unfold, finally spoke up. "Maybe we could work out a sharing arrangement? Take turns using the house?" "No," I said firmly. "The lake house stays with me. End of discussion." That's when Dad exploded. He stormed over to my purse, snatched my main set of keys, and held them up. "You want to be difficult? Fine. Let's see how you like this." Before I could react, he threw them into the fireplace too. The keys landed with a sharp clang, the leather keychain catching fire immediately. "Robert," Mom gasped, though I couldn't tell if she was shocked by his action or just worried about the antique grate. I stood up slowly, gathered my coat and purse, and headed for the door. "Where do you think you're going?" Dad demanded. "Home," I replied. "And don't worry about the keys. I have digital locks on the lake house. Grandpa always said to be prepared for anything." "This isn't over," Jessica called after me. "That house should be mine. I'm the one with a real future." I paused at the door, looking back at my family. Dad red-faced with anger, Mom wringing her hands nervously, Jessica smirking triumphantly, and Mark looking uncomfortable with the whole situation. "You're right, Jess," I said softly. "This isn't over. In fact, it's just beginning." Grandpa left me one more thing besides the lake house. Instructions to open on New Year's Day. I guess we'll all find out then what his real intentions were. The silence that followed me out was deafening. They had no idea what was coming. Grandpa and I had planned this perfectly, right down to the timing. The lake house wasn't just a house. It was the key to everything. And in 1 week, on New Year's Day, they'd all understand exactly why he'd chosen me as his heir. As I drove home through the snowy streets, I thought about the hidden room in the lake house basement, the one only Grandpa and I knew about. Inside was something that would change everything, something that would make my family regret ever questioning his decision. 1 week? I just had to wait one more week. The week between Christmas and New Year's felt like the longest of my life. My phone buzzed constantly with messages from family members, ranging from Dad's angry demands to Mom's guilt-inducing pleas to Jessica's thinly veiled threats. "You'll regret being so stubborn," her latest text read. "Mark's father is a lawyer, you know. We can contest Grandpa's will." I smiled at that one, remembering Grandpa's twinkling eyes the day we finalized everything. "They'll try to fight it," he'd said, sitting in his favorite chair at the lake house. That's why we've made it ironclad. Standing in the hidden basement room now, I ran my fingers over the steel safe embedded in the wall. Inside was everything we'd worked on for the past 5 years. The real reason Grandpa had left me the lake house. My sister's wedding plans and my parents' greed had just accelerated our timeline. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Mark, surprisingly. Amanda, your sister is really upset. Maybe we could talk about this privately, work something out. I ignored it just like I'd ignored all their other attempts at manipulation. Instead, I focused on preparing for tomorrow's revelation. The formal letter from Grandpa's lawyer would arrive at 10 a.m., requesting the family's presence at the lake house at noon. Everything had to be perfect. That evening, as I sat on the dock watching the sunset over the lake, I thought about all the summers I'd spent here with Grandpa. While Jessica was off at fancy summer camps or traveling with friends, I was here, learning about his life's work, his real legacy. Your sister sees the surface, he told me once. You see beneath it. That's why you're the right choice. A car door slammed in the driveway, interrupting my thoughts. I turned to see Jessica marching toward me, her designer boots crunching in the snow. I knew you'd be here, she said, her breath visible in the cold air. Hiding away like always. I stayed seated, keeping my voice calm. This is my property, Jess. You're trespassing. She laughed bitterly. Trespassing? I'm family. This should be our family vacation home, not your private hideout. Is that what you think this is? I asked, genuinely curious. Just a vacation home. What else would it be? She gestured at the peaceful lake view. A nice place for holidays, summer weekends. Instead, you're hoarding it all to yourself, probably writing your silly mystery novels. If she only knew how close to the truth she was. Though my latest novel wasn't nearly as interesting as what was really happening here. Why are you really here, Jess? She crossed her arms, shifting uncomfortably. Mark's father looked into the will. He says it's unusually complex for a simple property transfer. There are conditions, clauses we can't access. What are you and Grandpa hiding? You'll find out tomorrow, I said, standing up. Now please leave before I have to call the police. You wouldn't dare. I pulled out my phone. Try me. She stormed off, but not before shouting, this isn't over. You keep saying that, I murmured to myself, watching her expensive car disappear down the driveway. But you have no idea what's really beginning. That night, I could barely sleep. I kept thinking about tomorrow, about the look on their faces when they learned the truth. The lake house wasn't just a property. It was the headquarters of something much bigger. I checked my security cameras one last time before bed. Everything was in place. The safe was secure, the documents ready, and most importantly, the proof of what Grandpa and I had been working on was safely backed up in multiple locations. Tomorrow, they'd learn why Grandpa had really left me the lake house. Why he'd spent so many summers teaching me about nature, while Jessica was away at camp. Why he'd insisted I study both creative writing and environmental science in college. My phone buzzed one final time, a message from Mom. Whatever you're planning, please think about your sister's happiness. That's all we want. I turned off my phone without replying. They'd never once asked about my happiness, my dreams, my goals. Tomorrow, none of that would matter anymore. Tomorrow, they'd learn that while they were busy pushing their vision of success on Jessica, Grandpa, and I had been changing the world. The last thing I did before falling asleep was check the small vial in my bedside drawer. The discovery that would make headlines across the country. The discovery that would make my family's fight over a simple lake house seem ridiculous in comparison. Sweet dreams, Grandpa, I whispered to the quiet room. Tomorrow, we show them everything. At exactly noon on New Year's Day, my family pulled up to the lake house in separate cars. Mom and Dad in their luxury SUV, Jessica and Mark in her sports car, and even Mark's lawyer father, Mr. Thompson, in his polished sedan. They looked like a parade of privilege, exactly what Grandpa had predicted. I met them on the porch, dressed professionally, holding Grandpa's letter from the lawyer. The same letter they'd all received copies of this morning. Let's get this over with, Dad grumbled, still angry about the Christmas confrontation. Why are we even here? Jessica demanded. The house should be mine anyway. Mr. Thompson cleared his throat. Perhaps we should review the documentation first. I led them inside to the living room, where I'd set up a projector screen. Before we start, I need you all to sign these non-disclosure agreements. NDAs? For a house discussion. Mom looked confused. Trust me, I said. You'll understand in a minute. Once the papers were signed, I dimmed the lights and started the presentation. On screen appeared Grandpa's face, recorded 6 months before his passing. "If you're watching this," he began, "it means Amanda has followed my instructions perfectly. You're all probably wondering why I left her the lake house. Well, it wasn't for the property." I watched my family's faces as Grandpa explained how he discovered a unique microorganism in a lake 15 years ago. One that could break down plastic waste completely, leaving no toxic residue. He'd spent years studying it, documenting it, and with my help, developing it into something revolutionary. While you were all pushing Jessica toward corporate success, Grandpa continued, Amanda was helping me change the world. The lake house isn't just a house, it's a research facility. And Amanda isn't just my granddaughter, she's my research partner. Jessica's mouth fell open. Mom grabbed Dad's arm. Mr. Thompson leaned forward, suddenly very interested. I took over the presentation, pulling out the vial I'd checked last night. This contains the formula we perfected. Major environmental companies are already bidding for the patent. The starting offer is $50 million. $50 million? Dad stammered. That's right, I said calmly. The lake house isn't worth fighting over. It's what we discovered here that matters. And Grandpa left it all to me because I was the only one who saw its value beyond real estate. Jessica stood up, her face pale. But I'm the successful one. The one with the business degree. Success isn't just about corporate titles, Jess, I replied. Sometimes it's about seeing the bigger picture. That's what Grandpa taught me. Mr. Thompson was already pulling out his business card. We should discuss representation for the patent. Already handled, I cut him off. Grandpa arranged everything before he passed. The patents, the research, the legal protection. It's all done. Mom started crying. But I couldn't tell if they were tears of regret or frustration. Dad just sat there, staring at the vial like it might disappear. I never wanted the lake house for myself, Jessica whispered. I just wanted to win, like always. I know, I said softly, but this wasn't a competition. It was about who would understand Grandpa's vision, who would protect his legacy. Standing there in the room where Grandpa had taught me so much, I felt a deep sense of peace. The truth was finally out. The house stays with me, I announced. But I'm willing to share something else, the truth about our family. Grandpa didn't love any of us less. He just saw something in me that you all missed while you were busy measuring success by conventional standards. Dad finally spoke up. We were wrong about you, Amanda. About everything. Yes, you were, I agreed. But that's not why I brought you here today. I brought you here because Grandpa wanted you to understand that success comes in many forms. And sometimes the quiet one in the family might just be changing the world. As they left that afternoon, each family member slightly dazed, I stood on the dock where it had all started, where Grandpa had first shown me the microscopic organism that would revolutionize environmental cleanup. Jessica was the last to leave. She paused by her car, then ran back to give me a hug. I'm sorry, she whispered. For everything. I know, I replied. Come visit sometime. Not for the house or the money, but because you're my sister. Watching their cars disappear down the driveway, I smiled. Grandpa had been right all along. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about proving them wrong by doing something extraordinary. I pulled out my phone and dialed the number for the environmental company's CEO. Yes, we're ready to proceed with the patent, I said. And yes, my family finally understands. The lake sparkled in the winter sunlight, holding its secrets close. Just like Grandpa taught me, sometimes the most precious things are the ones you can't see at first glance.